Oh, hello. Do come in. I was overwhelmed, actually. I thought it was wonderful. It was rich and strange, full of the most beautiful animation, and I was just, sort of thrown back in my seat with amazement. Yes, I think mostly the magical scenes, actually. I mean, I thought the Fire Demon Calcifer was wonderful. He wasn't as I portrayed him in the book, but he was wonderful. Also, the shooting stars. They were quite fabulous. And the scenes where the castle disintegrates, falls into bits and then bits and then bits, and cut down to four very skinny legs in the end. Yeah, it's very difficult to sort them out because they're very closely interwoven. The scenes that were in the book, right? The good one was the hat shop. I loved the hat shop, though you didn't see much of it. And the breakfast scene where they do bacon and eggs on Calcifer's head, that was in the book, and I thought it was wonderfully well done. Now let's see what wasn't in the book. Well, one was partly in the book, which I thought was one of the best scenes in the entire film, actually, was when Sophie and the Witch of the West are both of them trying to climb this immense flight of marble stairs, panting and shouting insults at one another, and Sophie carrying this dog. And it was like a dream and a nightmare, and also very funny. I thought that was quite splendid. At first, I saw the pictures first before I saw the film, and I thought, this isn't the castle I wrote. What I liked about it was that it had its own distinct and often quite threatening personality, actually. It was comical, but it was also very frightening and somehow very vulnerable, the way the bits fell off it. I thought my castle, you see, was tall and thin and made of blocks of probably coal. And this is not the same. But what I like is the way Miyazaki has translated this into a thing of fantasy. Oh yes, I've been longing to, actually, particularly Sophie, because I was really impressed. It seemed to me to be masterly animation, that as she got, as the film went on and she lost her elderliness, she also began to move, but only by degrees, more and more like a young girl. So in fact, at first she was an old woman moving like a young girl, and then she was actually a young girl, only with grey hair. It was very impressive. I suppose he had this sort of slightly sad, childlike, gentle movement most of the time, slightly stiff, which made one very sorry for him, even though there wasn't always obviously anything wrong with him. And it's obviously one of those things that must have been picked up from my book, because people are always wanting to marry Howl. I have queues of young ladies from all over the world saying, if Howl turns out to be real, can I please marry him? Because Sophie arose because it was just before I discovered I'd got a really severe milk allergy. And I quite mysteriously almost lost the use of my legs and had to walk with a stick. And this was in 1984, so it was a long time ago. And I was moderately young, and suddenly became old. And this gave me the idea for Sophie. Because in a way, when you are very old, you can hammer your stick on the floor and shout, where you can't if you're comparatively young. At least if you do, nobody will take any notice except to say, shut up. Well, the odd thing is that I think I had one of my more formidable aunts in view. And oddly enough, the Witch of the Waste as represented in the film, it looks awfully, awfully like her, even wears the same clothes. My aunt wore a mink hat like a cardinal's hat, and so does the Witch of the Waste. I was really taken by that. I really was amazed. Well, there must be, because I've loved his work for about 20 years now, long before I knew he was going to make a film of mine. And when we met the other night, we discovered, at least I discovered, that he understood my books in a way that nobody else has ever done. It really was quite striking. And we had, through an interpreter, a very long and interesting conversation about this. And yes, the answer is yes, I think. Well, yes, I think, you know, it is a story, as I wrote it, and as it occurs also in the film, about if you love someone enough, all sorts of extraordinary other things happen in your surroundings as well. And you can achieve great things, even if the world falls to pieces around you, you know. And I think both of us seem to be on the same track there, me and Mr. Miyazaki. You know, and it needn't necessarily be two young people being in love, you know. It's just, if you love people and things enough, then sensational things happen. And it is, if you like, a sort of form of wizardry. Well, the book and the film are both to enjoy. And they're, both of them slightly different, but full of fabulous things. And I would like everyone to enjoy it and laugh and sort of rejoice about it, really, because it's a wonderful thing.